Hi, everyone. I'm Claire Delcourt from the product management team at Apstra.
Hi, and I'm Sean Afees. I'm the Vice President of Product Management at Apstra.
And we are back for a second episode of feature unboxing with the product team. And in each episode, we unbox a feature and we present the feature from a product perspective. Why we did this, what was the problem we were trying to solve, and how we uniquely address them with AOS. And especially today, we are going to do a live demo. So Sean, are you ready for today's unboxing? Oh, wow, that's awesome.
I'm totally ready.
You dressed ready. There you go. That's awesome. So what do we have in the box today?
Aren't you supposed to tell me what's in the box? I'm just making this up as we go along.
That's right. So today's feature is Intent Time Voyager.
I thought we're going to call it Intent-Based Time Voyager.
No. We're not having this debate again about the name. Product managers cannot agree. Engineering couldn't care less. They wanted to just call it rollback like everybody else is calling it. So let's not go there anymore.
Look, I thought about calling it Network Time Machine, but I didn't want to have a discussion with Apple's lawyers. So
yes. So let's stick to Intent Time Voyager and just move on.
All right. So we know automation is about deploying faster. It's also about deploying better, more reliability, more predictability, increase reliability of the network operations for add moves and changes, which is something that you do every day. So it's important that we keep this to be a low stress action.
Absolutely. Reliability is a top goal for IBM. And, to do that, we have explained before how Apstra IBM provides a high level of intent to minimize the user input, how the intent is validated against the existing state of the network to capture the issues like IP duplication or wrong ASN allocation schema, and how the user can review those incremental changes before deploying the config. And to close the loop, AOS also collects telemetry from the network to verify the state of the network is as expected. So the question is, Sean, what could still go wrong after this?
Well, look, we've discovered ourselves that the right network design and intent with the right config does not actually guarantee zero issues at all. Like any other software, device operating systems have bugs. APIs change, hardware can malfunction, vendors can have interoperability issues that were not expected because, standards. Issues can manifest as the config push did not get applied, the config change triggered a process crash, the expected routes are missing on devices, et cetera, due to bugs or strange behaviors.
Absolutely, and we are seeing those bugs ourselves while testing. So I actually had a look in our Jira database where if we do find the bugs, we tag it with a special label that identify it as a NOS bug. And since January 2020, we have found 11 issues that are not AOS related, but are NOS specific. And to give a very concrete example of a recent one, AOS was trying to do a route import policy update on a device, and the config was pushed correctly. Everything looks very fine, but the BGP process running on the device was not actually picking up the running config update, and was not actually honoring the change at all. And so capturing that was very important for us. And the only really workaround that was possible for us to do, it was restarting the BGP process. And at the end, we ended up providing a workaround where we create a new, brand new route policy, include that changes, and swap it. So yes, we see those bugs, and we find them as much as possible, right?
Yeah, so, despite all the internal testing we do for our reference design across the NOSes, the truth is we can't 100% guarantee that we'll find all the bugs in the software-hardware combinations. It's just not possible. Look, I've been at this for 5 years at Apstra. I can tell you that in my first year, when we had a small team and I was building and deploying the reference designs and checking them, I think I ran across 30 vendor bugs, confirmed. Like I would open a case and the vendor would look at it and go, oh yeah, that's our bug, right? And so one of the things about buying AOS is like we're doing that testing for you. But in the case of when something's missed, it's really, really important that we get you whole very quickly. So it's paramount for the user to be able to see the error immediately, which is what you get with the intent, to report the error, and then be able to go back to a known good state.
Correct. So being able to identify how impactful the issue is and revert the whole network back into a stable state, like you said. And if the change involves one line of configuration, it's something that today you can do by pretty fast, even as a human action or human intervention. So it wouldn't be too bad to do manually. But if you have done a change that is touching a lot of config lines in different config sections, and it applies to all of your devices, then it becomes very tedious to do anything manually and super error prone, right? So just to give an example, adding a single IP subnet in an existing overlay network can generate around 40 lines of configuration per device, depending on the operating system.
40 lines. Come on, is that like VXLAN and EVPN? Is it really that complicated?
It's complicated in certain occasions, yes. And I will actually show you that during the demo that we're going to do.
Okay, so back to the topic, which is an easy button to revert the last change wherever it was, whenever it was deployed across the entire state of the network to its last known good config state.
Yes, absolutely. And let's clarify one important thing is that when we talk about rolling back the network state, we are not talking about rolling back the full config back to a previous backup. We are talking about undo whatever changes was introduced between the current network state and the network state you are trying to go back to.
Sounds cool.
All right, and it does sound cool. So let's actually see it in action. We have prepared a live demo. So I'm going to switch screen.
And everybody knows we're doing this live and it's a demo, so
nothing can go wrong.
Nothing can go wrong.
Sean, can you just confirm to me that you can see the EOS GUI right now?
I can.
Perfect. So here's the EOS GUI, and here is a micro network that I have designed already, and I have 3 spines, and I have 6 racks. Simple. I already have configured a bunch of overlay networks in that fabric. And the only thing that I want to show here is let's deploy one more IP subnet in one of the overlay fabric. Let's see how much config line it generates. Push that down. And assuming that something is wrong, let's see how fast it's going to be for us to roll back to that network state that I had before.
Sounds cool.
All right. So let's do it.
Claire, just to clarify, we're running, this is running in our cloud offering, which we can offer to customers or prospective customers. If you want to try the product, just contact us. We can give you access to what we call Cloud Labs, where you can play with the product hands-on yourself. So yeah, sorry, just wanted to say that.
No worries. Yep, that's a good information. So the thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new virtual network, which is basically what I do if I want to create a new IP subnet into my VXLAN based overlay network. So I'm going to give it a name, VN2. I'm going to add it into an existing VRF, security zone orange. I'm going to tag my interface toward my servers with VLAN 43. And
42 is better.
42 is better as long as it's not used anywhere else. So we'll see about that.
It's always the right answer.
Give it a IP prefix, and I'm going to assign my virtual gateway to v.1. The last thing I need to do is define whether my server-facing interface is tagged or not, and I want that. And I'm going to spread that network across all of my racks. Optionally, I can add a more fancy route policy, but I'm not going to do that. So this intent is getting created. EOS is validating and searching for things like IP duplication and so forth. Once everything has been validated, I'm then allowed to commit my change, and so which means push those changes back into the network. But before we do that, we did want to have a look at the incremental config that it generates on one of the leaf, for example. Right, Sean?
Yeah. Let's see how close you are.
Sean?
Yes.
Are you still there?
I am there. Live stream. I'm here, Claire.
I don't hear Sean anymore.
Hello.
So maybe he has disconnected, but I will keep
Hello.
with the live demo anyway. I hope he's all right. So the config preview allows you to look at the incremental config that is going to be pushed to implement that intent. So here I can see that I have approximately 40 lines of config that involve my VLAN configuration, my server-facing port configuration, and my VPN configuration. I'm a bit worried for Sean, or I'm a bit worried that I'm offline. So I'm going to check my phone quickly. Okay.
Hello.
I think I'm still online. So as I commit, so the thing I can do now with AOS is I can commit the changes and just give it a name. Sure.
Claire, I'm here. Look at the chat.
I would like a sign from my peers that I'm still actually online. Oh, I'm on. Okay, just say I'm on. Keep going. Okay, thank you. I just saw that. Thanks. So I'm going to keep going with the demo. Perfect. Thanks for the heads up. So let me go back to the UI. So I just push my changes. And if I look now at the history of my network, I can see that I have created a new commit that is a new revision. It has the same name as I gave to my commit, which is added VN2 in orange VRF. Now, the goal of the demo was to demonstrate if this commit would create any problem in the network, how fast can I go back to my initial network states? And so the workflow is going to be demonstrated now. So I just select the last revision that I saved that I considered stable. I click on jump to this revision. And what's going to happen now is AOS is going to calculate the difference between the current network state and the network state of that last revision. I can go back as far as I want to any of the previous saved revision, which AOS automatically save a revision, but there is also the possibility to permanently save some revision. Once the difference have been calculated, in this case, it's very simple. The difference is just removing the virtual network that I just added. Then I can go ahead and commit my change again, or do even additional work on that network before I deploy my changes. So this commit is generated to roll back to stable network. So this is how I'm going to call it. Voilà. And again, AOS is going to validate the commit, push it down to the devices, and I can follow the status of the device using the deployment status here. So that's it. In the conclusion, I can really use Time Voyager to voyage across the different state of my data centers and roll back to any point in time really, really fast. So this is the conclusion of the demonstration. I wish Sean was back so that we could keep our conversation and a bit more about it. Now, just to conclude, I'm going to verify if there is any question on the chat box. And let's see. So Sean, you're back, but I cannot hear you. Okay. Any questions that we have not addressed?
Fair.
And okay, so Sean, it's up to you now.
Okay, so Claire is going to pop off and come back. Technology, isn't it wonderful? So look, the most interesting thing about this feature is that in AOS we start with this intent, and we build the configuration and the things that we push from the intent, right? And so for us, we're not actually versioning your config files to do this. We're versioning the intent of what you did. And so if you push a change and you don't like it, you can just sort of slide back through time. This is where the word voyage comes from. And it sounds much better when Claire says it. If we could figure out a way to have marketing, have everybody hear Claire say voyage when they read this, it would be great. But so all we're doing is going back to a state in time where your intent functioned the way that you want it to. And we're doing this across all the vendors' platforms, which is really fantastic. And so being able to actually sort for this across an entire set of network systems is amazing, because let's face it, if you're going to pull a VXLAN, you're pulling it to more than one device. So if you pull it to 40 devices, 40 times 40, a lot of config, and it may only break when you push the last switch if you're doing it by hand. In this case, where you end up is the ability to go, oh my God, this didn't work, undo, and get back to stable, and not have your boss or anybody screaming at you and going why things are broken, and then you can figure out what's going on. So, so we got some questions. How do you manage the change rollback on Cumulus Linux? The same way that we manage any of the configuration in any box. As I keep saying, we don't care about configuration files. There's nothing in AOS that keeps track of a config file. It is entirely based on your intent. Your intent at that moment in time generates what we push. And we do keep track of the differences between the intent. So we can say, look, your intent here was A, your intent now is B. The diff between these two things are this. In order to accomplish that, we need to use these commands on the box. The box doesn't matter. Claire, are you back? Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm back. I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's funny because the live demo was fine, and then this.
No, I could hear you the whole time. I could hear you.
Oh, really? Yeah. I could not hear you at all.
Yeah, okay. So we've got the question. Can I control the rollback via an API? Claire?
Oh, yes, we can, because everything that is presented in the GUI is actually a backend, just the front end for a backend API. So yes, it's available as an API as well. Yeah,
I've said this before. Our GUI is just an API client to our backend. We actually have a CLI that's an API client to the backend. You can take all our APIs and program it yourself. This is a fully thought out API-driven product.
Right. The next question is, how many backup can you store? So automatically, AOS is going to save the last 5 revisions or commits, but you can store permanently up to 20 revisions.
And we can extend that to be more. It's just we picked a number and we're looking for customer feedback.
Yeah.
Customer feedback, right?
That's right. And that was the last question.
Any more questions, guys? No. Oh.
All right.
How can I view the difference between a snapshot and the current running config?
You have.
Go ahead, Claire.
Go ahead. Sorry. Well, one way of doing it is, yes, one way of doing it is simply to roll back and look at the staged. So rolling back doesn't mean that it's going to push to send you back to that network state. It's just going to stage the difference, which you can review, and then reverse back. Use the revert button to revert to undo those changes that are staged. What were you going to answer, Sean? Something similar?
Okay. So I think that's all the questions that we're going to answer here. One of the things that I'd like to say is, Claire, can you do me a favor? Can you please go full YouTuber on me?
I'm going to try my best.
Okay, ready? Go.
Okay, let's do it. If you would like to cover specific features for the next episode, please let us know in the comment sections. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel and get alerted for new videos. Like, share, and give us feedback. Thank you.
And don't forget, hit that button. The like
button.
Anyways, guys, look, we're looking for feedback. Please leave comments however you can. Give us feedback on what you'd like to see next time. Give us feedback on whether or not you like my shirt. Yeah, everybody have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.